What is up, guys? Do a little update video here on my own cursed Goodman Desert Series heat pumps. I have two of these turds here at my house here in the side yard. And the other day, the compressor failed to restart and was pulling locked rotor amps. And I pulled out the wimpy start capacitor, which was actually smaller than I realized it was, and put in a bigger one. And compressor was like a little pissed to restart, but then once it did, it seems to have been running ever since then. So that's been, what was that? That was on Monday, I believe, when that happened. So anyway, I'm gonna go check the outdoor fan motor. I have the sneaking suspicion that it might have actually gave up the ghost on, and it was a lot hotter on Monday than it is the rest of the week. It's been working fine. So it's quite the rattle sound just by shaking this flimsy ass Goodman fan growl. But I always mock these suck. You're lucky that these haven't cracked and fallen apart, but often have to listen to that. That motor does not sound healthy. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip the screws out, take the top of this piece of shit erector set apart. Okay. There's the offending Bristol reciprocating compressor. You know, not just yourself, but the neighbors get blessed by the sound induced by those turds. But anyway, here's the fan motor. It sounds pretty shitty. Kind of need two hands to really get in here, but that feels like the back bearing is actually the worst. I've got the motor out now, and it's got quite a bit of side play. Can't hear nothing over those pesky birds, though. All right, this is absolutely funny. Although I don't know if it's going to work efficiently, but here is a used spare ECM motor out of a Trane unit. It's a little longer, so I'm trying to drop the fan blade down as far as possible, which is not quite getting the fan blades into that fan shroud. Now there are some model units that don't even have a shroud and have like this much distance from the fins from the grill, and I'm kind of, you know, they work, but you get this too far out of the shroud, sometimes you get quite a bit of side air movement, you know, looping at the top of the fan coil. I don't want that, but I might just kind of, this is a guinea pig Goodman unit, so bastardizing it is, you know, my game with these piece of junks. So I think it's just absolutely funny just to put this Trane motor in here. I'm going to rewire it, so I got constant 230 volts going to the brown and black wire, and then we'll switch the blue and yellow with the call for the contactor. Let's see what it does. Okay, first of all, excuse the loud ass noise from my other Goodman. That's the quieter one of the two. I'm already being too nice by making nice soldered connections with heat shrink tube to adapt my wiring. I'm out here trying to wire up the Goodman wiring, but something that's almost as loud as a Goodman is my daughter up there, who shouldn't be out here. What are you playing there on that Napster machine?
Screen from ventilation.
All right, all heat shrink tube. This is that thermostat wire I'm just going to use for the yellow and blue, and then the high voltage I just extended with the stock wires. Yep. One other shitty part about the old brown turd Goodmans is this stupid way that they made these, this little wire rack around the condenser coil had to be tucked in behind here. Definitely need two hands to do that, but that always sucked. You had to start in one corner, kind of get a screw in, and then just work your way around. It's a pain in the ass. Every time you wanted to check the fan motor, we had to deal with that. Got it back together, but excuse me while I have my daughter go upstairs and turn the upstairs unit up a degree, because you can't even think over this thing. What a piece of shit. Okay, now that unit's coming to a stop, let's continue. So I have the everything wired up. The awesome thing was I was able to get rid of the capacitor for the outdoor fan motor and move the start capacitor over there where it was. Get a little more room in there. So I have it hooked up without the contactor connected. We're just going to turn on the fan motor. There she blows. Now the first time I hooked this up, it was shaking. as I always complain about, the fan blades are paper thin on these Goodmans, and of course it bent somehow, as careful as I was to take it apart, put it back together. So I just had to take this top off, prop it up, and do my by hand visual method of aligning the fan blades, and now it's about as smooth as it ever is. In fact, the reason I got good at hand aligning fan blades is because back when these were new, you'd go to get warranty blades or new blades from the Goodman distributors. They didn't even put them in a cardboard box or nothing. They're just like thrown around loosely, and they'd hand you one, and it would often be just as bad as the fan blade you were replacing. So I got to the point where I said, screw that. I used to just straighten them up. As long as they're not cracked, I would just bend them back to where they didn't, they were all balanced. And this is actually about as smooth as you will ever see a Goodman fan blade. So it is down a little bit lower, but guess what? I'm not getting that weird draft down here. It's blowing pretty hard out here, out the top. And it's only pulling 0.55 amps, about half of what the OEM motor did, or maybe a little less than half. So that is awesome. I am starting to lose my sunlight, so let's go ahead and get the contactor hooked up and fire this up again. All right, I'm gonna punch in this disconnect. I do hate doing this to start the unit because it just absolutely smokes them, but fan motor has a little delay, as expected, and there she blows, smooth. Now, I thought I brought home a compressor blanket I took from work one day. I don't know what I did with it. Or maybe that's how that other compressor got it, but could definitely use a compressor blanket on this sucker. That is so loud. You can't even appreciate how smooth, better this fan motor is now. But anyway, that's how you fix up a Goodman that you hate. You put a Trane part in there. It's kind of an abomination a little bit to put something as awesome as a Trane ECM fan motor into a brown turd Goodman. Oh gosh, what am I doing?